So what if I tell you that Bronzeville is any place where an African American was permitted to live, had access to live, and happily lived in Chicago? Then would that make you part of Bronzeville?
Yes.
Pretty much so? Okay. Does anyone here have family members who live between 18th Street on the north and 51st Street on the south? So anybody in your families live between 18th Street on the north, 51st Street on the south? Nobody?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, let me tell you about why it's so important to know where Bronzeville is and the history of how important Bronzeville is. When you look at these posters here, this is just a few of very important, notable people who lived in Bronzeville who made an impact that not only affected myself, but also affects you as well. So if any of you have ever been to the Dusable Museum,
I play with
oh, okay. So we have a poster here of Dr. Margaret Burroughs, and we have some notes about her, that she's an artist, a historian, an educator, because she taught for a number of years at Dusable High School, and mentor. She was my mentor. I learned much about museums and how to take care of artifacts. So those are old things that people pass on to you and family. I learned much of it from Dr. Burroughs, who established the Dusable Museum of African and African American History. Anyone read the Chicago Defender paper before? So here we have a poster on the founder of the Defender paper, Robertson Stack Abbott. He established the newspaper May 5th, 1905. So imagine that this newspaper is still around today in 2013. And so this poster talks about his life, his legacy, and his drive to have blacks come from the South, where they were picking cotton, and they were working hard, long hours, and not making the money that they should. And he put in his newspapers opportunities here in Chicago for people to come from the South so they can have a place to live, go to school, and absolutely get a better education than they may have had in the South. This poster here talks a little bit about Muhammad Ali. Who has heard of Muhammad Ali? Oh, fantastic. Well, I personally had an opportunity to meet Muhammad Ali, and I adore his work as an advocate for justice. So not just he was a champion boxer, he also is a humanitarian. He wanted to make sure that young people or anyone who wanted to have access to education, wanted to be fearless, that he supported them. And so here's information about him. And then we have here Congressman Dawson and Mayor Harold Washington. Who has heard of Harold Washington? So name me one thing about Harold Washington.
Well, he was a mayor.
Yeah.
He was
All right. He was a black mayor. So Harold Washington was our first African American mayor of the city of Chicago. So this poster talks about him. Has anyone heard about Dr. Daniel Hale Williams? All right, okay. So isn't it fantastic that Providence Hospital is still around today? All founded by this great man, Dr. Daniel Hale Williams, who one of his accomplishments is that he performed the first open heart surgery. How neat that is, that you become a doctor and that you are able to do something that no one else has ever been able to do. Anyone here wants to be a doctor? Okay, what kind of doctor you think you might want to be?
a nurse.
A nurse? You want to, okay, do you like children? You want to work with children maybe? Okay, good for you. Anybody else want to be in the medical field? Any other doctors, nurses, dentists? Okay.
Dentist.
You want to be a dentist? Okay. You want to make sure that people have beautiful smiles and all that kind of stuff?
And I'm
Fantastic.
going to put braces on them.
Yes, yes. All my children wear braces. Lots of money, over $3,000. And so here we have a poster of William Dawson, who was the longest-serving congressman of African American descent, and his home is actually right down the street on 40th and Lake Park Avenue. So many of these whom you see on the posters, not only did they do a profound work in Chicago, they lived in the neighborhood. So they weren't far away from us as children being able to see them. So my daughter's father actually was a paperboy for Dawson. The Sinstack family, they have a daughter, Maidi, who is the granddaughter of Robert Sinstack. She's a professor over at Olive Harvey College. So these posters reflect not only history from long ago, they reflect the fact that these notable people who were advocates and champions for our community, they still have family members still here in Chicago. So I'm just so happy that each of you all stopped in and visited the Bronzeville Historical Society.
Thank you.
And when the next time you guys come back, I want to hear about what all of you want to do when you get older and, you know, take on careers and become doctors and lawyers and nurses and all those good things. I want to hear about you the next time you come. How that sound?
Great.
All right.
I'm happy.
Welcome.
Thank you. What do you all say?
Thank you.
Oh, you're so
Thank you.
welcome.
I appreciate it.
Oh, listen,
I
I'm
really
so
do.
happy.